Okay, welcome. Hey, welcome. We'll get started for today's session. Okay, so as usual, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look into the events for the week, and then we'll look into the market, some of the opportunities, and then we'll wrap up with some of the upcoming events that we have. Okay, so quick disclaimer over here. Everything we cover in today's session is going to be mainly for educational purposes, right? And of course, be aware that trading and investing involve risks, and whatever opportunities that we talk about today, they are not meant to be traded directly if you're not aware of the risk. Okay, and of course, if you need any financial advisors, do make sure you approach the professional financial consultants. Okay. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, so by the end of today's presentation, these are some of the things we're going to cover. As I mentioned just now quickly, we'll look at the events, we'll then look into the charts, and of course we'll end off with a quick wrap up, see if you guys have any questions, and then we'll update you guys in some of the upcoming events that we have moving forward. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the events calendar over here. Last week, as I covered, right, the main focus is really on the Canadian side of things. We are seeing quite a strong data coming in, not just from the Canadian, right, but the previous week we had the US labor market data, and of course, there was a surprise to the upside where the unemployment rate actually improves. Okay. Last week we kind of see the Canadian unemployment rate over here expected was to weaken to 5.1, but it maintained at 5%, which is slightly better than what the market has anticipated. Employment change has increased drastically. Right. So we are starting to see sign where there's this conversation of a recession coming in this year, but some of this data seems to suggest otherwise. Okay. So because of that, we need to definitely pay very close attention, moving forward. How does all this data continue to give us more clue as to, are we going to see a major recession, okay, or maybe a tiny bit of a recession, or maybe even recession might not happen in 22 trade, right? So this is important simply because it will then also have an impact in the Fed's interest rate decision policy. Okay, because if we're gonna see a major recession coming in, there's a higher probability where the Fed will be pressurized to cut rates. However, on the other side, if let's say this data are suggesting that recession is not really that bad, it's not likely gonna come so soon, then the Fed may not be pressurized to cut rates so fast. Okay, and then in turn, that will have multiple implications in the financial market. Okay, so there's something you want to take note of. Okay, do be aware of all this data. Okay, so we're moving slightly away, especially in the US, right? We're slightly moving away from inflation. Yes, inflation is still important, but the pressure on inflation is not as significant anymore. Okay, because we are really observing inflation data coming in. So this week here, we do have this important data, okay, from the US side, which is tomorrow. We have the CPI year on year. As we're speaking about inflation just now, you can see here, latest data was 6.5. The peak was about 9 point something. It has dropped all the way to 6.5. Market is pricing in an expectation of another drop to 6.3. So the actual data is going to be important. Okay, if it's coming out like 6.5 or even maybe above that, then that might be that significant concern. But if you see a drop, okay, and if it's gonna drop way below 6.2, like 6% or even 5 point something, then we might see the dollar weaken. Okay, so really need to keep track of that. And then on the Wednesday afternoon, we have the CPI coming in from the UK side. So you can see UK inflation is still pretty high. And again, same idea here, right? If inflation is high, the bank might continue to be hiking. So BOE is definitely one of bank that is still being pressured by inflation, and there's a very high chance Bank of England will not cut rates soon. Okay, and it will continue to do its hiking process. Okay. After that, on Tuesday and Wednesday, I think Thursday and Friday, really nothing much to follow through. Okay, we do have the core PPI on the US, but I don't think that's going to be a primary mover. Okay, so tomorrow and Wednesday will definitely be the core focus in terms of economic event for the week. Okay, so with that said, let's jump into the charts. Okay, we'll start off with the dollar index over here. Now, since we spoke, I think 2 weeks back or so, we kind of got this very sharp push. Okay, that's actually coming in from the NFP week, where, as I mentioned, labor data is very strong, kind of surprised the market, and we saw the dollar strengthen quite significantly. Since then, the market has been coming into what we know as a corrective phase, and there's a good chance we might see a three-wave move develop. Having said that, maybe tomorrow data would see a slight weakening aspect on the dollar, potentially to push it down towards this area, around 102.50. If you can get a very nice little move back down and see some kind of reaction here, we can expect the dollar to actually take another strength up towards 105.60, right? So pay attention to it. It might happen maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, okay, with this move down and then back up. So if we are looking at dollar strength potentially, then euro dollar over here, we are looking a little bit more on the downside. Okay, so euro dollar is doing a little bit different from the dollar index. The dollar index, we're seeing a very clear three-wave move, three-wave structure, but euro dollar here seems to suggest that we may have completed a potential five-wave move, and then we might see a deeper three-wave pullback like that. Okay, I don't suggest to look for sell around here. The reason is because if you pull up your RSI indicator, we already have a very obvious divergence, right? This is coming down, that is going up. It indicates a lack of momentum, and usually from an Elliott Wave perspective, that is like your wave 3, wave 5, and we can expect a little bit of a pullback after a completed first 5-wave move. Okay, the initial expectation of this pullback here is towards the top of wave 4, which kind of have a little bit of a confluence in the past as well. So give it some time. Okay, look out for an area between 1.08. That will give us a decent opportunity if we can get a pullback towards there. Okay, so euro downside, but wait for that pullback towards 1.08, then we'll look for that sell. Okay, pound dollar over here is a little bit of a mix, at least for the shorter time frame. It's not the best setup, it's not the clearest right now. But if I bring you to the daily chart, okay, it's quite clear on the higher time frame what structure this seems to be developing. There's a good possibility we're going to see this as a 1, 2, 3. So maybe somewhere around 1.1840, we can look for a buy. Okay, and that will give you your impulse corrective structure and then one more push to the upside. So pound dollar on a longer time frame perspective, it's quite clear to the upside. But on the 4-hour scale, this is not the clearest setup. Okay, so for me, short term, neutral. But if you can get a pushback towards, as I mentioned, 1.1840, we might look for a buy setup then. Okay. Aussie dollar, very nice little move. I shared this in the Telegram channel as well, right? Telling you to learn about this pattern, put it into your trading library, because whenever you see a combination of this again, there's a good chance the market will probably drop lower. But of course, it's also depending on the reaction right now over here. What we can see is also maybe a bigger three-wave structure, right? So we need to be adaptive and be observant as to what the market can potentially develop into as well, because this can turn out into a three-wave structure that looks something like this. Okay, so maybe I'll clean this up a little bit. If this is going to be a three-wave structure, then you might get another opportunity to sell it at a slightly higher price point that will put you around like 7045, okay, to take a sell. And of course, if you're very conservative, your stop is going to be at that previous high, right? Back up at that high. Okay, so it can either drop from here, or if the market decides to go a little bit higher, the next area to look out for is 7045 for potential sell, right? So this, if this goes up correctively, we'll be interested to sell here. It's an impulse correction down move. Target is 6630. Okay, if you don't have any sell right now, I don't suggest you go and sell it. Okay, I do have a sell trade riding from here, already managed that shift to break even. So it's a risk-free trade, right? If the market decides to go there, I'm going to break even at this. I'll look for another re-entry. But if you don't have any sell, don't ride it now, right? Entering here with your stop at the top is just too big a risk. Okay, it's not going to be worthwhile. Okay, so pay attention to Aussie dollar. Now, dollar Canadian, we are maintaining a very neutral perspective because nothing much. I think this is very choppy. It's not the clearest pattern. From an Elliott Wave perspective, there's no setup. If you are trading maybe, harmonic patterns, okay, you might have a pattern invalid that you can look for trade. But for me today, nowadays, I don't trade harmonic pattern anymore. Okay, you need to be very clear about your strategy that you're using. This is going to be a bad pattern, right? Which is going to be completing around 1.3290-ish. The idea here is if you can get another drop lower here, that's your entry for a bad pattern. Okay, so if you are a harmonic trader, okay, such phases where the market is doing consolidation like that, it's where you're going to look for a lot of patterns. But for us, we don't trade within those patterns itself, right? We want to wait for almost completion. We jump into those trades. Okay, so that's on dollar Canadian. The dollar yen here, overall, I'm still a little bit on the neutral side. Okay, it's not the best pattern to be entering trade right now, right? There's so many possibilities of how this can develop into. The chances of this just going out like that is very low. Okay, so I'm not interested in the buy right now. There's no reason to sell, but maybe if we can get kind of like a crawl pattern, a little bit double top, maybe a short-term sell towards this level. But trading within this again may not be very attractive, right? Because it's like you don't catch a lot. Okay, it's a very tiny bit, a small move. Maybe as an intraday trader, you might be keen. But for me, as I swing trade, it's not something that's very keen. Okay, so dollar yen, my suggestion is just be patient, give it more time, let it develop into a clearer pattern first. Okay, XAU USD, go quite similar in the overall structure with what we are seeing in terms of euro dollar. Obviously not the best 5-wave move to the downside. But again, if you put in your RSI, we are seeing a very obvious divergence developing. Okay, let me drop this down here. So in that sense, it may be wave 3 and wave 5, and therefore right now, while we are overall bearish, we might see a little bit of a drop here and then a 3-wave pullback towards the top of wave 4. This would be a much better sell than looking for sell here, right? Definitely not a sell here because we already have a divergence. Okay, so you need to be patient, right? At times when the market is really not giving you anything, just look at things that give you that thing. Okay, so what are some of the potential setup as we mentioned so far? I think we have like Aussie dollar. Okay, you can look up for that. And of course, if you are looking at harmonic patterns, right? Just now we shared dollar Canadian is good. Focus on those first, right? Give the market some time to develop into a clearer patterns, such as gold, right? Give it time, and then we'll come back at a later day. Okay. Crude oil neutral here as well. We can't get a very decent bounce, very strong V shape, so we don't touch it. We're gonna give it time, right? If the market develops something like that, then again we have this pattern very similar to the dollar index. We look for more upside in crude oil, but for now, nothing, right? So leave crude oil aside. S&P, we kind of have a very decent rejection around that zone so far. We need to see how the market opened today, right? If we can get a continuation momentum and essentially break out of this trend line, we might rotate our bias to a bullish one for the S&P because we are right now trading above a significant downtrend line broken. Okay, so S&P, I think this week is going to be crucial because it can give you that confirmation as to are we going to see more upside from here, or we need more time. Okay, so this is my view on it. This can obviously still make into a bigger, longer corrective pattern. Even if that's the case, I think long term is still upside. So right now it's a matter of like, can we get a break of this week? If you don't, expect this to continue develop before the bigger move. Okay, so that's the S&P side of things, right? If you are looking at trades, you can ride the ups and downs. If you're looking at investment, be a little bit patient for now. Okay, it's not the clearest yet. Okay, but slightly upside. Okay, that's the overall sentiment that I have. Pound yen. Okay, pound yen over here, I'm maintaining a neutral point of view. Okay, but again, if you're a harmonic pattern trader, if you take swing high to swing low, okay, you get a godly pattern that is potentially completing soon. Okay, again, this is for those of you who are into harmonic patterns, right? Not the best of all patterns. I mean, you can put it here. Right, but basically the level we're looking for a godly is around 160.7. Okay, I don't trade this anymore, but if you're keen, you can look for entry around this area, look for a sell. It's not going to be long-term trade, definitely a short-term, so you're going to look at targets maybe from this low to this high, somewhere around there, right? 382. Okay, if you're into this, of course, you need to have a complete harmonic trading plan, right? You can't just say, oh, because we have this today, you randomly jump in, right? Don't do that. Okay, so that's on pound yen. Okay, euro pound, neutral perspective because it's coming down pretty hard. So this may be our wave 5. Okay, so what we see over here is a 5-wave completion, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not the clearest 5. We don't really see a very clear internal 5-wave structure. But I'm not too particular with that because right now the momentum is definitely down. If you can get a corrective move here, we get a short-term sell towards this target. And if that happens, then this will be your 5-wave structure, your ABC. We look for upside. Okay, so let's see how it develops. I think give it another week. Maybe next week if you come back and we see this, then we have a very nice little structure for euro pound to the downside. Okay, Aussie yen is breaking above that inner channel. So right now the next level to look out for is here. Overall structure on Aussie yen, not the best. Okay, this can go up a little bit, but after that can still come back down. So I don't really like buying yet. And basically it's not at a area in terms of context, it's not at a key zone that I think is very worthwhile looking into. Okay, so for me, I'll just put this aside, just let it develop, come back later day. Okay, pound odd not clear as well. You can see what we are getting now is just basically a consolidation. This area very nice for harmonic patterns. Okay, you realize every time if the market is in the correction, in the consolidation, harmonic patterns play out very nicely. There are many patterns inside this, okay, depending on how you look at it. I'll draw out for you so you can see the beauty of it. Okay, I think first up we have a small little cipher. Let me just double check. Yes, okay. We have a small little cipher over here that is gonna complete around that 786, right? So this is a buy cipher pattern. If I were to use another level to draw in that pattern, okay, we have a potential little butterfly over here. Okay, that looks something like that. Okay, let me change this color. Yellow. Does it work? That's the border. background. Okay, so that's another pattern. If I take from this swing high down, we kind of get another pattern over here as well, right? So that's the 786, and we kind of get a bigger butterfly. Okay, stretch this all the way. We have another one that looks something like this. Right, so this one may be light blue. So that's the thing about harmonic pattern, right? It's the beauty of it. Okay, so the part is, now that you identify this 3 potential pattern, the part here is, if this market comes down, we look for buy, and then we look for targets at the top, somewhere around there, we get out. Okay, short-term play. If the market doesn't come down and just keeps going, this will be the area to look for a sell, and then short-term take profit. And then maybe the market will just keep going, and then this area here, we're going to take another sell, short-term exit the trade. Okay. So obviously, if you're very comfortable and you are more into this kind of things, you might want to add harmonic patterns into your toolkit, right? Which means add this into one of your arsenal in trading, okay? So that when you start to observe the market is in a consolidation phase, you bring this up, you will have a lot of opportunities that you can look out for. Okay, so same thing here. If I bring you to the higher time frame, you realize that whatever the pattern is happening, we are in that zone consolidation. Cool. Okay, so I'll leave it as it is right now. Elliott Wave, nothing much. Harmonic pattern, a lot. Okay. Bitcoin, if you have been following us, we've been sharing, you know, this pattern, don't buy, look for sell, this little consolidation, look for more sell. Right now we're riding it all the way until 20465. Okay, but of course, if you don't have any sell today, I think you want to be a little bit patient right now. There's no point selling it here. We are already starting to see a little bit of an extreme. Okay, so what can happen is maybe a little bit of a retracement bounce and then another move down, and then from here to here we'll probably get a divergence, right? So something like that. Okay, and then from there we'll look for another long-term buy around 20465 if that's gonna be a bounce. Okay, so I think Bitcoin is more of an update. If you already have been selling, just manage the position along the way. Target is still there. If you don't have any sell, I don't think now's the good time to be executing any sell. Just be patient, right? So hopefully that helps, right? Kind of give you an overview of different assets in the market, some opportunities. Of course, some weeks, you know, you might not have much new opportunities. But some of this, we have been talking about it, you know, 2 weeks ago, maybe sometime longer. When those opportunities are there, that's where you want to look out for it, right? As I mentioned, Aussie dollar maybe one to look out for. Okay, I don't know exactly when this might happen. Okay, but you want to definitely pay attention to them. Okay, yeah. So those are some of the things to take note of this week. Okay, hopefully that can give you some ideas and insights into it. Good. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it into the chat. Perhaps while I'm waiting for some of you guys who might have questions, I'm gonna do a quick summary and wrap up of some things and events that we're gonna have moving forward. Okay. So quick one over here. Today's session is sponsored by the broker Zenfinix. Okay. So currently they are running some promotional offer. If you're fairly new to Zenfinix and you'd like to register for an account and put a funding, okay, deposit, you're gonna have what we call a deposit bonus. Okay, so if today you put in $100, you're gonna get $88 credit bonus. If you put in $200, you're gonna get 96, and you put in 500, you get $140. Okay. So if you're interested to find out a little bit more about Zenfinix and you want maybe someone to guide you along the way, you know, you need some support from Zenfinix, feel free to reach out to them. Okay, if you're watching on Zoom, okay, they'll drop you a link that will bring you to a WhatsApp. If you're right now watching on YouTube, okay, click on the description box below this video. You're gonna see a link that will direct you to WhatsApp as well. Okay, so from there you can directly communicate with the team at Zenfinix. and they'll be able to support you for more of this information. Now you want to keep that link, right, or keep that WhatsApp, because in the future, as I mentioned, some of these workshops, webinars, events that we have, you need to RSVP, and that's the WhatsApp link that you need to reach out to. Over here, if you are very, very new, okay, we do have a Telegram group as well, where every day I'll just drop in one chart to give you some insights into the market. Okay, it's free, so if you're not in yet, you can actually scan this QR code on the screen, and it will direct you to Telegram channel, and then you just click join, you'll be inside. Okay. And then of course we have this upcoming workshop. Obviously 11 is done. Okay. So the next one here is on the 15th, which is in 2 days time on Wednesday. This is a physical live workshop. Okay. So if you're not based in Malaysia, especially KL and PJ, then sadly you won't be able to join us in this physical workshop. Right? But if you're in KL or PJ and you would like to understand a little bit more about how to get ready for the next super cycle, okay, do RSVP and register for your seat this coming Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 10:30. Okay, you need to RSVP, or else later is overpacked and then it's very difficult. Okay, so just make sure you just RSVP so that we can reserve that seat for you. If you are in Penang, okay, we're gonna have the same title, and then we're gonna have 2 sessions in Penang as well. Okay, one is gonna be on the 4th of March, a Saturday, and the other one is gonna be on the 5th of March, a Sunday. Okay, so one is gonna be at Bukit Mertajam, one of it is gonna be on Penang Island itself in Georgetown. It's gonna be in the afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. right? So if you guys here are listening from Penang, or if you have friends from Penang, do invite them, okay, to join us on the 4th or 5th, right? Both days are going to be the same content. One is in mainland, one is in the island. Okay, and then on top of that, we have a upcoming Elliott Wave Masterclass. This is going to be a physical live workshop in KL. We're going to have this workshop also in Penang in March, okay? But the nearest to date is in KL. It's going to happen on the 25th of February. Okay, it's going to be a full day event from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And if today you are a Zenfinix client and you have made a $100 deposit, okay, you are able to attend this for free. Okay. So on a retail price, which means if today you go online, you want to register for this masterclass, you have your members, you can log in and watch this video and things like that. The training is actually $497. Okay, but if today you register for your Zenfinix account, you put in a $100 deposit, you're able to attend this for free. Yeah. So same thing, we're gonna have one of this masterclass in Penang on the March. So again, if you're watching this from Penang, okay, same thing. Okay, the dates we'll let you know in a while, maybe next week. Okay, but we're gonna have another one in Penang. Okay, so just be aware of it. Good. Cool. So that's all for me. Okay, I don't see any question over here from my side. Okay, so I hope that helps. There's no question, so I think that's about it. I see a question from YouTube, right? Asking if this is a live session. Yep, it's live. Yeah, so no question. Then I wish you guys all the best for your trading this week. Okay, and for those of you who are joining us in those events, the live sessions, we'll see you on Wednesday itself. Okay, so all the best, and see you guys then. Bye bye.